Well, they've gone ahead and done it. We actually signed Malcolm Butler. Can you believe that? I didn't even think that was really going to happen. I knew he was coming in for the tryout, which means there's a chance, obviously, but it's really happened. And not only is it like a 1 year, like prove it deal, it's a 2 year, $9 million contract. What this tells me is that whatever Malcolm Butler showed off when he came in for that workout, they absolutely believed that he was in great condition. And this is a staff that is very familiar with Malcolm Butler. This isn't some foreign player that has never played for our team before. No, this is Malcolm Butler. He was on our team, I think 4 years ago or 5 years ago, the last time. We know who he is and we know where he's at based on what he showed off. This is a really good thing, guys. And right now, as it stands, he's probably one of the two cornerbacks that would be starting on the roster, okay? Just because we're that short at cornerback, regardless of what condition he's in. And the interesting thing is that the last time he played was 2020 for the Tennessee Titans, and he had a 74.5 overall grade, which this isn't Madden. This is real life, and that's actually really good here in real life on Pro Football Focus. And that's actually, let's see, that's the second highest grade he's ever had, actually, matter of fact. The only time he was higher was 2016, where he had an 83.3. And then he had a 65 in 2019, 67 in 2018, a 71 in 2017, a 83, like I said, in 2016, a 73 in 2015, and a 74 in 2014. So this is a guy that has been pretty good throughout his entire career, which is definitely worth noting. He's very familiar with the system. The interesting thing is he plays much better as like a zone coverage cornerback, and a lot of people have been saying that this would lead them to believe that we're going to be switching schemes from a heavily man coverage defense to a zone coverage defense, which is a lot of what we had in like 2016, 2017, 2015 timeframe, which we won some Super Bowls in that time frame. So that's definitely worth noting. Obviously, we're pretty far off from being at that caliber of a team. But it is a type of scheme that has worked for us in the past, and I definitely think that is worth noting as well. So the implications with this signing isn't just that we get Malcolm Butler. It also means some other things about the overall defense and where we're going to be trying to move our pieces to move over to a certain scheme and what direction we're trying to head in as defense. Now, I also have some pretty interesting tweets. First off, here's the one where the NFL announced that he was signing a 2-year deal with the Patriots, and literally everybody flipped out when this happened. Absolutely crazy. Here's Adam Schefter announcing it. He probably announced it first, to be honest. Former Patriots cornerback Malcolm Butler is returning to the New England Patriots on a 2-year deal worth up to $9 million per his agent. Okay, so that was announced yesterday, but I already made a video yesterday, so saving this one for today. And one of my favorite tweets that came out, guys, you guys are going to lose it, okay? Jonathan Jones, if you didn't see this, tweeted, "We got Malcolm Butler back. Ayo, bump and run Gilmore," which if you don't know, that's Stephon Gilmore's Twitter. "Run it back like old times," because Stephon Gilmore is a free agent right now. And that would be absolutely crazy if we obviously still have Jonathan Jones. Now we have Malcolm Butler. If we brought back Gilmore, I think that would make up for losing J.C. Jackson in a lot of people's minds. Obviously, J.C. Jackson is a whole different beast. He's a different type of beast and just an awesome player overall. But getting these three guys back and running it back to that defense that we had at one point would be so incredibly awesome. And that would completely eradicate the need for a cornerback at any point in the draft, really. So that would be clearing up a huge need. We obviously addressed the linebacker a little bit with the Mack Wilson signing. I think that we might draft a linebacker pretty high up in the draft, maybe even two. But I think all of these moves would make it possible for us to focus on the offensive line and the wide receiver position, which is absolutely a great thing if we can focus on that on the draft and have these other needs kind of addressed. So if we can get Stephon Gilmore, or, I would even settle for some other cornerback that is available, which there is quite a few of them, that would be so awesome. Okay, so I really hope this happens. You can see 1,200 people retweeted it and 10,000 people liked it. So there's obviously a lot of people on board with this idea. I'm absolutely in love with it, and I just think that would be so cool at this point. Now, other news that I'm not going to make a whole video about is Tyreek Hill signing with the Dolphins. Absolute crazy move. Obviously, they gave away so much. A lot of people were saying that we should go after him. But I really would not have liked it if we would have given away that much to Tyreek Hill, and especially with the type of contract that he's going to be expecting. The Kansas City Chiefs couldn't even make a deal happen, and obviously his preference would have been to stay with the Chiefs, where he would keep on winning probably. But they weren't giving him the amount of money he wanted. So, what do you think he's going to charge the Dolphins or the Patriots if we would have traded for him? It's going to be absolutely ludicrous. So, not only are you losing the first round pick, the 2 second round picks, the 2 4th round picks, and the 5th round pick, or whatever it was, but you're also just throwing so much money at this player as well. So it's kind of like you're getting double slapped, honestly, in the whole situation. And then it's kind of a question of, can you put a quarterback around Tyreek Hill that really takes advantage of his expertise? Because really, Patrick Mahomes was the perfect quarterback for Tyreek Hill, in my opinion. And do the Dolphins have that, or would the Patriots have had that? I think absolutely not. I think both Tua and also Mac Jones both are not the type of quarterback that would have been great for Tyreek Hill. That's just my opinion, though. But you know what? Crazy trade. We're going to see what happens with it. But honestly, I'm glad that the Patriots didn't try to get him, if that makes sense. Now, I want to come back. I want to reel this back in, talk Malcolm Butler again. Okay. So this is a player, obviously, that we know spent a long, long time with the Patriots. I just kind of want to break down a little bit more of what his most recent season looked like, which again was 2020. He retired officially after he, I think, signed with the Cardinals or got traded to the Cardinals from the Titans. But his most recent season that he played in was actually in 2020. And I'm going to walk through the weeks. So week 1 versus Denver, he was the right cornerback, by the way, in all but one game here. Week 15, he played as the left cornerback, which is pretty interesting. He had a 53 overall grade week 1, 56 week 2, 47 week 3. So obviously, right out of the gate, kind of a rocky start, obviously. Week 5, though, versus Buffalo, he had a 70 overall grade, which was pretty darn nice, but then back to 52, then a 53 in week 7. But then versus the Cincinnati Bengals in week 8, he had a 90 overall grade, and he didn't look back after that. 72 in week 9, 67 in week 10, 69 in week 11, 68 in week 12, a 61 in week 13, but then a 77 in week 14. And then week 15 versus the Detroit Lions when he switched to the left cornerback from the right cornerback. I'm unsure exactly why that happened, but for 1 week he played primarily as that left side cornerback as opposed to the right side cornerback, and he dropped all the way to a 59.2, rebounded back to a 68 overall grade the next week, and then the final week of 2020, he had a 60 overall grade. But what's interesting here is that the very next week, versus Baltimore in the wild card round, hit an 85.9 overall grade, with an 87.6 overall coverage grade, which is absolutely crazy good. And it's interesting to note how clutch he is in the playoffs. I was just looking at his week by week stats, and it seems like he always just plays much better in the playoffs. So in 2019, he didn't play in the playoffs. 2018, he also didn't play in the playoffs. That was his first year, I think, with the Tennessee Titans, if I'm correct. Yeah, and then New England. That year, his final year was kind of rocky. But if we go all the way back to the Super Bowl in 2014, we all know what happened in this Super Bowl. He had a 97.8 overall grade out of 100, which is absolutely out of this world great. Like, not only was that one play great, but he had a few plays that later in that game, and they were all just amazing. He had 6 targets to him, only 2 receptions, so that's a reception percentage of 33.3. He allowed 39 yards, but he did have, obviously, 1 interception, which changed the game in the biggest way you can possibly change a game. Completely went from losing the game to winning the game in one play. We all remember that play. And that's just kind of an testament to what he's capable of. I really think it's cool. He tends to step up in those huge games, those huge moments, and I love that about him as well. So there's multiple things to feel about this. Let me know how you feel about it. A lot of people were like, no, he's old, he sucks. I don't know what they're going based off of to provide evidence of that, because his final season with the Titans was really good, and then he kind of just retired. So I don't know why people are so sure of that. He's 32, obviously. We just signed him to a 2-year, $9 million contract. I'm sure they have good reason for that. So I have confidence. I think this is probably a good signing based on the fact that we don't have any better option, regardless of if he's good or not at the cornerback position. So it's a win-win type scenario for us, in my opinion. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Let me know in the comments down below. because I would love to hear from you guys. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for the best Patriots content on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next one.